Alright, hello and welcome, Pew here, and as you see in the background, I am running Burial Chambers. Yes, this is going to be a Magic Find video, and we are going to make it as cheap as possible, or at least as accessible as possible. Since Magic Find is so popular, it's definitely not cheap, since everyone wants to run it. Now, how does this make it more accessible than something like Wind Ripper? Well, everyone knows about Wind Ripper, so it's really expensive. Just the bow itself and a Lionized Fall jewel will set you back several exalts. That's without even getting a proper 6 link. But let's move over to this build, which as you see clears probably just as fast, especially if you're a bit better at the game than I am. Then you don't hit walls that often and you don't get stuck on things, and you also probably click on items more accurately. And hey, I still run Burial Chambers in 2 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes easily. Now, how does this build differ from a Wind Ripper? Well, first of all, you don't use a bow. That's sort of a downside. Maybe it's preferred even to some people, but you do lose a 6 link, which means you don't have a specific single target gem setup for just killing the boss at the end of the map. In my opinion, that's not necessary. The damage is good enough already to kill the boss without problems, but for some people that might be a little bit of an issue. As you see in my gameplay footage, I'm not the best at the game and I still make it work. It looks a little clowny, but hey, that's how I play the game. On the other hand, this build I managed to squeeze out a lot more movement speed out of it because instead of jewel nodes I could go for movement speed nodes. Again, I've built this character purely to farm Burial Chambers. I could take it up to tier 8 with this current build without any issues. I would have to be a little bit more careful about the mods on the map, because if I would roll damage mods, I would be a lot more scared for my life. But in Burial Chambers, that's not an issue. So yeah, it would be hardcore viable if you don't mind running a 3.5k HP build in hardcore. But as I said, in low tier maps, that's not an issue. If you want to take it to high tier maps, that will be an issue though. So this build, like I said, it's made to run low tier maps fast. It's what Magic Finding is. It's why my skill tree looks like this. There we go. Uh, as you see, it's Ascendant, it's not Deadeye, but I still reach Deadeye speeds. And I do pick up the Deadeye Ascendancy. I also pick up the Elementalist Ascendancy for the cannot take reflected elemental damage. Now, why is that so important for me? It's not. It's the convenience. Like I said, I wanted to run Burial Chambers as fast as possible. I didn't want to invest a lot into it, which means I can run all reflect maps, be it physical reflect, be it elemental reflect, not a problem with this build. Uh, Anything else? Nothing too special. I pick up one jewel slot here for the extra onslaught chance, since we do pick up some onslaught down here as well. Again, nothing too special. We go for Avatar of Fire. When leveling, you want to rush for Avatar of Fire as soon as possible, and you want to rush for these two jewel nodes as soon as possible. If you have the jewels, you need to have the elemental hit, cannot choose cold, and you need to have the elemental hit, cannot choose lightning. That is the only necessary thing. Everything else, up to you. You can pretty much run anything. Um, but these two jewels, very important. And Avatar of Fire. It's also a big reason why I went Ascendant over Deadeye. Its Ascendant has a way better access to Avatar of Fire compared to Deadeye. With I would have to go through a lot of traveling nodes to get access to the upper portion of the tree, or I would have to use Xof's Amulet. Now, Xof's Amulet alone is, I think, around 13 exalts right now, which is absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, it's not only ridiculous, it's bad. Because we want increased quantity on our amulet. We don't want damage on our amulet. Quantity, that's what we're after. So, besides that, as you see, all I'm doing is picking up life nodes, picking up some convenient damage nodes here and there. Honestly, I don't even think you'd need that much damage. You could go for more life. In my previous iteration, I had a little more life. I think I had up to 200% life on the skill tree. Again, you could drop damage nodes if you want to. It's not that necessary, or movement speed nodes. But yeah, right now, this type of build, I am greedy for movement speed, which is why I'm picking up terrible nodes like this one, because we don't use bows. I just picked it up for the life and movement speed. Again, this thing, movement speed and attack speed, completely terrible nodes. Don't pick them up if you don't want to go fast. Um, yeah, and that's it for the skill tree. If anyone has any questions about it, I am going to post my path of building link. And now let's move over to gear and the gem setup. So you've already seen most of the gear, and yeah, it's standard as it gets. You get Sedemas, you get Viscous Leash, you get Goldworm, double venters. You could go for Pariah rings with white sockets. Those are a little bit more expensive, and by a little bit more expensive, you could probably fill your inventory with venter rings for the price of one Pariah ring. Um, I used the Soul Choker because I got it as a drop from the temple. You could use a Viscous collar. You could use a Shaper Amulet. I think it has to be item level 80 for 6% quantity, and item level 86 for 10% quantity. That's the maximum roll on it. Then you also have Centaur's Answer. 8% quantity is the maximum on it. That's the shield we're going to be using because I want to kind of offset the quantity we lose by not going Wind Ripper. Since Wind Ripper has 15% on everything it shatters, but this one has just flat 8% quantity on everything. So I prefer this one over Wind Ripper even. And for the helmet, again, you can go with whatever you want. I went with the Potos because it doesn't reduce our damage at all. It just increases our attack speed and movement speed. And we get free MTX with it with the Mercury footprints. Hell yeah, why not? For the armor, obviously we're going Queen of the Forest because it's the go fast armor. That's what we want. Uh, with the setup I have right now, you don't even need a well-rolled one. It doesn't matter how much evasion rating it has. We hit well over the cap of maximum movement speed for Queen of the Forest. So what we do look for is it has to be at least 5 link. The most important gems are going to be Elemental Hit, GMP, Ignite Proliv. Those three are must. I would probably go for Combustion as my 4th gem, and besides that you might want to go either Cold to Fire or Elemental Damage with attacks. Depends which one you manage to get with quality. That's the one you put in, and as the 6th gem, the last one, Cold to Fire or Elemental Damage, depending on what you chose. That's the gem setup. Why is it set up like this? Why doesn't it have any attack speed, any flat damage increases, anything like that? Because we don't need it. As you saw already in the footage, the burn takes care of most of the monsters. The only time we have to actually single target is for bosses, and those die fairly fast as well. I am using in this setup uh, the Blood Rage gem. It's completely unnecessary. I only use it to pad my DPS stat a little bit, just so I can tell people in my Discord that their plebs and their elemental hit deals way less DPS than mine does on a Magic Find build. That's the only reason. Don't need it. As far as summon golems goes, since we picked up Elementalist as an ascendancy, we can summon two. I'm using the Flame Golem and the Lightning Golem. Again, they're not a necessity. They're just something you might want to throw in if you feel like you're not doing enough damage. And I'm using Lightning Warp because Sometimes I am a blockhead and I cannot move upstairs, so I just lightning warp over it. And that's it. Really cheap build compared to Wind Ripper. If you'd want though, you could take this into higher tier maps. Currently, Elemental Hit is just plain ridiculous, and if you'd want to, you could drop the stupid movement speed nodes, you could drop some of the evasion life hybrid nodes, and you could go for either straight up life, or you could go for jewel sockets. Jewel sockets are still really, really strong on this build. It's just that I do not need more damage for tier 3 to tier 8 maps, and that's where I'm gonna keep this character at. But like I said, if you wanna play a character that can evolve, that can get a lot stronger, that you wanna maybe stop magic finding with eventually and take it into higher tier maps, I would still suggest this. Elemental Hit is beastly. I currently have level 19 gems. Once you get it to level 21, it's ridiculous. Just try it, guys. Try it and you will see. Some of you might even prefer this. But that's it from me. I hope you liked the video. If you got any questions, just type them in comments, or I don't know, drop by in my stream. Uh, I will provide the Path of Building link, like I said. And yeah, that's it. See you guys next time.